Hey, so exercise number 8, cone point attractor. It says like this: generate a minimum of 100 points on a triangular grid. Make the cone's tip point towards an arbitrary point. Okay. So let's generate the points first. On a triangular grid. Grids you can find where you usually find points, where vector on the vector tab, that grid. And you might want to use this one, triangular grid, yay! And we get a grid. Let's make this a bit larger. Let's say like this, boom, boom. But it's not quite like that, because if we look at what the points output gives us, it's a set of points that's in the middle of the cells rather than the corners. So, and if you look at these points, they form hexagons, not triangles. Therefore, we won't use this, but we will use the hexagonal grid, because the hexagonal grid, let's delete this, the hexagonal grid will make points in the middle of these cells, and these form triangles, so it's a bit weird, but it's like that. So if you want points on a triangular grid, we use the hexagonal grid, which gives us hexagonal cells, but the points are in the middle of the cells and they form triangles. Okay, so this is the first part. And then we want to make, I can delete this, we want to make, or actually I can delete it, we want to make cones on each of these points. So in order to do a cone, you can double click the canvas and write cone, and you will get this one. Let me put some bifocals in here also. So bifocals is a plugin that allows you to put this component anywhere on the canvas, which will generate the names of the components. Otherwise, you have to hover your mouse over the components to see what it is, or just get familiarized with the icons. Anywho, so if I use these points as base planes, I'll get these vertical cones. But problem is that if I use points as planes, because this component where it says base, it needs a plane, and if I input points instead of planes, it will just make horizontal planes with the origin where those points are. Horizontal planes, therefore the base is horizontal and the tip points upwards. But it's not what we want. We want the tip to point towards a certain arbitrary point that we can just make manually here. Let's put a point. So if you're on the standard tab, you have point in here. And let's reference this point. As per usual, we go to the geometry component, right-click it, set one geometry, select the point, and now we have this one, the attractor, right? Maybe we can also write here, attractor. One click in here, and presto. All right. So instead of using directly these points as planes for the cones, we're gonna generate some other planes. And we can use the following component, plane normal. Plane normal generates planes that are defined by an origin, which should be the points that are on the grid, so these ones, and z-axis. And the z-axis is a vector, so it needs a vector in here. The default value is 0, 0, 1. It means it's a vector that points upwards. But we don't want it to point upwards. We want vectors that are that point towards this point, the attractor. So basically we want to make a vector between 2 points, or sets of 2 points, so between each of these points and the attractor. And in order to do this, here at vector we have this one, vector 2 points, which allows us to make vectors between, well, the initial points, this one, I mean the initial point, the points on the grid, and the attractor. And we can use these vectors as the z-axis for the plane. Let's make the planes a bit smaller. We can go to view, to display, preview plane size, and choose a smaller number. Let's try with 1.2 maybe, I don't know. And we can see the planes that will be used as a base plane for the cone. So if we input these planes in here, we will have the cones pointing towards this point. And then we can move the point around. Come on. We can move the point around, and the cones adapt, as you can see. Let us just see the cones. One thing you might want to do is to make these cones a solid, meaning that for now it's just the lateral surface of the cone. It doesn't have a cap in here. So in order to make caps or close the cone, you can use cap holes, this component. Boom. And now, if you look just at these cones, they also have the bottom surface, right? These ones don't. And we can make these not be visible. And now the cones look right. Oops. And we can play around some more with the attractor. One more thing. It said it needs at least 100 points. So we can see here how many points we have, 121, which is fine. But if you didn't use this, if I delete this, it is just 25. So you need to make the cell count a bit larger in order to exceed the 100 points necessity. Cool, that's it.